Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming. Adam Adams, EPA On-Scene Coordinator, Federal Oversight on the Response Effort. Progress has continued to move forward aggressively on the tank farm as well as on the water recovery operations. Very good progress on both counts over the last 24 hours. In the community, the air monitoring has continued consistently with the Aspect aircraft overhead flights. In the downwind, the EPA Togabus trace atmospheric gas analyzer in the downwind community, and then the ground troops with handheld instruments monitoring the air in the downwind. Currently, the winds are out of the southeast. Over the next 24 hours, the wind's going to shift and it's going to start coming from the north. In preparation for that, we set up our air monitoring stations teams. They go downwind in advance so that when the wind shifts, we have that area covered. In the early morning this morning, we did have one detection of benzene above 1 part per million. The concentration was 2.0 parts per million in the San Jacinto port area. It was not sustained. We got the detection, it dissipated. We sent confirmation, we notified local government incident command, unified command, down to local governments to make the decision what's required, action to take, shelter in place or evacuation. We sent a confirmation team to double check the numbers and there were no detections when they went over. So the communication process, it worked. We got the hit, we disseminated it down, and it wasn't sustained. So that was like we wanted it to be, the communication process. EPA has a website, or let me talk about wildlife first. Wildlife, so the one bird that was in rehab did not make it. A third bird was observed in the impacted area already deceased. A second turtle, a second red-eared slider, was observed deceased in the impact area. And there was an additional 8 fish in the immediate impacted area as well, all deceased. As far as so EPA has a website. It's response.epa.gov/ITC tank fire. You should check it out today. That's where we put our public information. Any sample results, any air monitoring results. There's maps that show exactly where the Aspect aircraft flies every day, exactly where the Togabus drives every day, exactly where water sample results are taken by EPA. When you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's an image, and you can click on that image, and it brings up another page, and it kind of scrolls through, kind of telling the story of the response actions. There's photos that show what's being done on the water. There's photos that show the Aspect aircraft. There's photos that show the Togabus. And then there's also a map at the end of that one that shows where the EPA water samples are collected. So that's from the first day. As the response began, so the EPA began collecting water samples on March the 20th. That was Wednesday. That's when it was safe enough to get to those locations after the fire and collect those samples. As the response has progressed, we've had access to further locations for additional sampling. So just because on March the 20th, there may only be 4 locations in the critical downstream area, as of today, there's quite a few more locations on the map. I mean, you won't see them, but as we update the information, they'll be on the map. As soon as I get the final data today, the water sample results will be posted on that website. You can go there and you can download that table of data and see exactly what the numbers are. Preliminary numbers are exactly consistent with what we expected. They're consistent with petrochemical industry release of product. So you'll see volatile organic compounds, just like we expected. We continue to work close with our state, county, other federal agencies, the Coast Guard, our local response organizations on this response. Communication and teamwork has been key, and it's been successful, and we're going to continue to do that. And we appreciate our counterparts very much. Thanks for getting this information out.
Gracias, Adam. Voy a comenzar un poco con la información positiva, que es el sitio web que ha habilitado la Agencia de Protección Ambiental, que es response.epa.gov/ITC Tank Fire. En ese sitio, la Agencia de Protección al Ambiente está poniendo todos los reportes que se han hecho sobre las mediciones de agua, del aire también, están ahí puestas, y al final del día habrá nuevos resultados que también, por supuesto, serán posteados. El pájaro que se había reportado que estaba siendo tratado falleció, murió el pájaro, y hay otro pájaro que está siendo sometido a rehabilitación también. Habrá cambio en la dirección del viento, actualmente desde el sureste, y va a cambiar hacia el rumbo norte, y ya hay equipos preparados para este cambio en la dirección del viento y poder realizar los monitoreos convenientes.
Good morning, I'm Captain Kevin Odit, the Coast Guard Incident Commander, supporting EPA as the lead federal on-scene coordinator. We made great progress yesterday with respect to the vessel traffic transiting the impacted area. They were able to move 23 ships, which is slightly over 50% of the normal traffic, and they're able to move 113 towboats, which is approximately 50% of the normal traffic. Of those vessels, 4 ships and one of the tow vessels were required to go and be decontaminated. The vessel queue for tomorrow right now is at 49 ships inbound and 18 ships outbound. We continue to attack cleanup operations all across the impacted area, and yesterday we were able to, or last night, excuse me, we were able to recover 4,800 barrels of oil for a total yesterday of 14,000 barrels of oil. Additionally, in the Santa Ana Bayou area, we're able to deploy additional boom, and we continue to monitor that area, and the rapid assessment teams will be out there today to assess any potential impact. We are also working hard today in order to open up Carpenter's Bayou and Old River. Those bayous remain closed. Those waterways have over 100 barges, and it's critical that we get those open and allow them to trade and continue to carry their cargo to their customers. So that's critical for us today to be able to get those waterways open. Thank you.
Les voy a comentar los barcos que entraron ayer, 49, salieron 18. Ayer se recuperaron 4.800 barriles de combustible de la zona del canal. En total se han recuperado aproximadamente 14.000 barriles de combustible. Se están trabajando todavía para limpiar algunas de las zonas, entre ellas Carpenter's Bayou, y algunos de los barcos que han entrado o salido del canal, que han estado pasando por esta agua, han tenido que ser enviados a un proceso de descontaminación, pero eso se ha realizado de acuerdo a cómo debe realizarse.
Mencionaba hace un momento el señor EPA sobre la detección de benceno. ¿Una mañana nos puedes hablar de eso?
Sí, esta mañana hubo una detección de benceno de 2.0 por partículas por millar. Se realizó un monitoreo posterior y la lectura fue normal, por eso se considera que la situación está normal en este momento.
No hay riesgo entonces de evacuación ni nada.
No hay riesgo hasta este momento. Sí.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Anthony Buck. I'm with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, Emergency Management. TCEQ personnel continues to work around the clock to provide support to the Unified Command and local government officials. As Adam said, we had a benzene hit from one of our field teams, and the process worked. But upon hearing that we did have a team hit last night, and I checked our continuous air monitors, as I always do when I got in this morning, and we were able to find it of the 4 locations surrounding that area that we had nothing above our actionable limits of 180 parts per billion. TCEQ is continuing to take water samples around the ship channel and in Galveston Bay. The results so far are as expected, reflecting the same type of chemicals that were in the damaged storage containers from the incident. And again, there are no drinking water intakes in the affected area. We're also overseeing the cleanup overall, and we also have some of our agency staff reviewing ITC's plans to handle waste materials. TCEQ will continue to post information as air monitoring and water quality data becomes available. The public can view the latest results on both air and water side on our website. We also have a ITC fire page off the TCEQ website, and that's at tcq.texas.gov. Thank you.
Bueno, lo escucharon, la calidad del agua está bien, no hay ningún problema y creo que es importante decir que TCEQ está revisando el plan de ITC para el manejo de estos materiales que están siendo sacados de los tanques y siendo transportados a otras áreas más seguras.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Brent Weber of ITC and Incident Command. We made good progress yesterday. You know, we've been focused on product removal. Yesterday, we were able to complete the product transfer from tanks 80-13. We also began product removal from tanks 80-2 and 80-3. We concentrated heavily on remediation of the ditches, and we continue to work with our U.S. Coast Guard and EPA partners to continue the remediation in the waterways, focus really on Tucker Bayou as far as ITC goes, and the rest of the waterways in the ship channel. Today we continue with the same focus. We're trying to get more and more product out of that tank farm. We are transferring tanks 80-11, and we have targeted tanks 80-5 and 80-6 for today's period. We'll continue to recover product that's collected in the tank farm containment area, and we will continue once again to focus on the ditches and remediation of our waterways. And I will stress, our aim is always to do all of these objectives without impacting our community and emphasizing the safety of our responders. Thank you.
Bueno, se siguen las maniobras de recuperación del producto. Ya el tanque 83 está seguro, se ha sacado el producto de ahí. Está por empezar el proceso en el tanque 5 y tanque número 6. El tanque 11 también está el proceso de sacado del producto de ese tanque. También de la zona del parque de tanques se está sacando todo lo que está ahí, todo el material también de las zanjas que están en la zona de los parques se está sacando, se están limpiando todo y se está por supuesto llevando el material a tanques seguros para poder ser transportado y tratado de la manera apropiada.
So ITC is a storage terminal only, so out of respect for our customers' confidentiality, we do not release that information. But yes, the customers of that product have been notified, and we have been in constant contact with all of our customers at ITC.
Commissioner Adrian Garcia mentioned that he was offering the carbon support since the beginning of the fire, even though the president of the company didn't accept the support. What is your comment about it?
So we have one focus, and that's really to resolve the issue as fast as we can. I assure you there are no shortage of resources here to help us resolve the issue. All of our governmental agencies have brought in multiple resources. My CEO has ensured that we have all the resources we need, and that's our focus, resolving the issue, get the community back to normal, and get through this incident.
But how about the question? If the president didn't accept that carbon support at the moment?
So we've accepted every resource that we've been offered. We have multiple Harris County resources here on site. We have multiple city resources. We have multiple governmental agency resources here available to us. And like I said, my CEO is completely committed to this recovery effort, and our focus is to get this done as quickly and as safely as we possibly can without impacting our community.
How are you making sure that the while you're removing some of those tanks are not going to spill back into the ship channel? Sort of what are the lessons you've learned from the Tucker's Bayou spill?
So the Tucker's Bayou spill was really as a result of that tank farm containment wall. So we've fortified that wall. We keep a very, very low level in the tank farm now. If you remember when the wall failed, it was way early in the release. It was a very dynamic situation. So right now, as we transfer the tanks, we keep a very low level in the tank farm wall, and the tanks we're pumping to, please remember, they are designed to store petrochemicals in primary containment and secondary containment.
Yesterday, you both had said there's no timeline yet on cleanup of the tank farm or the waterway. Any timeline yet on when things will be wrapped up?
I would love to stand up here and give you an exact timeline, but I'll reiterate, it's still complex. It's still ever changing. We're making very good progress. I'm extremely proud of the team that works for me. Like I said, it's dynamic. I would love to stand up here and tell you a day, but I'm not going to be able to give it to you. But I can assure you that we're doing it as safely and as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, the tanks 80-2 and 3, in the aerial footage, they look pretty decimated. So what's left to remove if you're removing the 2?
That's a good question. So we do get drones up with thermographic capability, so we can see somewhat of a level in the tanks. So we're just accumulating the material from a low point in the tank to just get everything we can, with the ultimate goal of every drop of product and foam and water to be removed from the tanks.
Let me go over here for a question. I'll come back to you. I promise.
There was a dead dolphin reported yesterday in the Seabrook area. Will that dolphin be tested to make sure it was not part of this?
As soon as it was identified, the water response group and the team here notified the mammal recovery operation, and they've already mobilized down there and assessed that. I believe they began that assessment yesterday. There's no results. There's no indication at this point that it's from this incident, but out of an abundance of caution, they're notified and they responded to go look at that. Yes, ma'am.
About the numbers that you have in your hotline right now, how many doctors?
Yeah, as of right now, there's been 600 claims submitted and approximately 2,500 call inquiries to the claims hotline.
What are those claims like? What are the nature of those claims?
It's a multitude of claims, from business interruption to just asking questions, wanting information.
What is the most like one that just stood out, that just kept repeating itself?
My focus is really on the response. I'd have to get somebody to get that information back to you. Sorry.
Good question.
On the difficult, obviously there's difficulties with the men. If you get rain today, does that add more difficulty in the cleanup?
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, some aspects of the response, it would actually benefit to help kind of flush the material to our recovery locations. I don't see it as an inhibition at all, but we're prepared for it if it does come.
And Mr. Adams, back to the wildlife. Was it all those dead animals, were they in Tucker Bayou alone, and do you have the cause of death yet?
I have no cause of death. They're evaluating that. The wildlife response group is assessing what the potential cause is. As of the new animals that were impacted, I didn't get exact locations, but I believe it was the immediate Tucker Bayou area, kind of where the docks are, that little general, so immediately north of the impact.
So those were impacted by the fact that there was a spill.
There was animals that were deceased in the vicinity of the impacted area. The actual cause is being determined by the wildlife response group.
Do you know what animals?
Yes. So initially, on the first day, there were 13 fish observed deceased. Since then, we've also had one frog, a total of 2 turtles. Both of them were red-eared sliders. So far, there's been a total of 3 birds. One was a small swallow-sized animal. It was observed deceased. The second bird was a cormorant, which is a federally recognized migratory bird. The third one, I don't have the exact size, and that one was rescued and entered into rehabilitation, and then in the last 24 hours passed away. The third bird, I don't have a kind. I believe it was in between those, and it was observed deceased already. It's being evaluated by the expert wildlife personnel.
Okay, a few more questions. Anybody from this side? Yes.
Ryan, can you just confirm of the 15 tanks in that section, how many are secure right now?
Okay, so tank 80-1 contains base oil, so it's not a hazard to the atmosphere. Tanks 80-2 and 80-3 we're securing now. They're not finished, but we're securing them now. Tank 80-4 has base oil. Tank 80-5 and 80-6 we'll be working on today to secure. Tank 80-7 is secure. Tank 80-8 is we'll target that tank tomorrow. Tank 80-9, 10 is secure. Tank 80-11 is being transferred now. Tank 80-12, 13, 14, and 15 are all secure.
Let me check, but on this side, I want to make sure I'm getting everybody a chance to ask questions. Anybody else over here?
Yeah. What's the latest on looking at the cost of this? How exactly happening?
I believe the agencies are scheduled to start mobilizing into the scene on Monday, and that'll be a combination of Harris County, the Chemical Safety Board, and OSHA.
Okay, I'll come back here for a question, and I'll take one final question after that, if that's okay.
What's the question?
This is just a quick one, but we just got a phone call today from a viewer that was concerned about the quality of like food going into the Gulf, like shrimp or fish. Is there any concerns that you?
So beginning in 2013, there was a fish advisory, fish consumption advisory, and I believe it included oysters and shellfish, and that was, I don't remember the basis for that one. Day before yesterday, there was an update to that fish consumption advisory by Texas Department of State Health Services to focus on potential volatile organic compounds from this incident in the ship channel. So there's been no elevated amendment. It's just a notification that this could potentially have an impact to the ship channel. So another re-emphasis: please don't consume the fish in the channel.
Final question?
Any idea when Independence Parkway is opening back up?
So that'll depend on our progress. We are working with the local sheriff to start opening up Independence Parkway. There is limited traffic coming up and down Independence Parkway right now, but it's not general public traffic.